Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we dig through the financial filings of publicly traded companies to find the real story behind the numbers. Today we're diving into Exicure Incorporated's latest quarterly report, and let me tell you, it is a journey for this company. One where they are quite literally betting the farm on a new direction. So Exicure Incorporated is filing its quarterly report for the period ending the 30th of September 2025. And this isn't just a routine update, it is a story of transformation and a whole lot of change. Let's start with a quick snapshot. As of early November 2025, they had about 6.4 million shares of common stock out there. That is a key number to keep in mind as we look at the financials. Now let's look at the company's financial health as of the end of September 2025. Total assets were about $15.3 million. That is up slightly from December 2024, but not by much. Liabilities were around $8.3 million. They are carrying a significant amount of debt, especially when we look at other areas like contingent consideration, which is a bit of a mouthful, but basically relates to potential future payments tied to an acquisition. And then there is stockholders' equity, which stands at about $6.9 million. Now this number can be a bit misleading because it doesn't fully capture the company's cash position. Their actual cash and cash equivalents at the end of September was about $4.4 million. Now this is a critical figure for an early stage company. It is what they have on hand to operate and fund their ambitious new ventures. Moving on to how the company performed financially. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September 2025, Exicure reported zero revenue. Yes, you heard that right, no revenue coming in. And for the 9 months ending the 30th of September 2024, they only had $500,000 in revenue. This lack of income is a stark indicator of their past business model. However, it is important to note that their research and development expenses for the 9 months ending the 30th of September 2025 shot up to $2.6 million, which shows they are investing heavily in something new. General and administrative expenses were about $1.5 million for the 3 months, and over $5 million for the 9 months in 2025. This indicates ongoing operational costs likely related to managing this new direction. And of course, with no revenue and high expenses, the result is a significant net loss. For the 3 months ending the 30th of September, they lost $2.4 million, and for the 9 months, they lost $2 million. This isn't surprising given the situation, but it highlights their reliance on external funding. Let's look closer at their cash situation across the periods. For the 9 months ended the 30th of September 2025, their cash decreased significantly by $8.1 million, bringing their total cash to just $4.4 million. This is a substantial burn of their cash reserves. In the same period in 2024, their cash decreased by about $1.1 million, but they started with much less cash then. The biggest drain on cash is their operating activities. For the 9 months ending the 30th of September 2025, they used up $7.4 million. It is a big jump from the $2.1 million used in the same period in 2024. This reflects the increased costs associated with their new operations and likely more staff. Then there is investing activities. They used $2.3 million in 2025. This was primarily for acquiring GPCR Therapeutics USA Incorporated and some capital expenditures for their new South Korean subsidiary. On the financing side, they brought in $1.6 million in 2025 and $1 million in 2024. This cash is coming from stock offerings and potentially other financing efforts. Now, what is driving all this change? This section tells us about the company's big pivot. Exicure used to be a biotech company focused on developing nucleic acid therapies, but in late 2022 they made a major shift. They laid off staff and focused on exploring strategic alternatives to get the most value for their shareholders. The big news here is a significant acquisition made in early 2025. They bought the entire company GPCR Therapeutics USA Incorporated for $1.6 million. This is a complete change in direction. Along with the acquisition, they also entered into a license and collaboration agreement, which means they are now involved in developing and commercializing GPCR's technologies. This agreement involves milestone payments and royalties, which could be a future revenue source, but are highly uncertain right now. The acquired company GPCR USA is working on a phase 2 clinical trial for blood cancer patients, combining 2 drugs, GPC-100 and propranolol. They are expecting to announce results later in 2025. This is the core of their new focus and where their R&D spending is going. They also formed a new subsidiary in South Korea called KC Creation Company. Limited, this move seems to be about expanding their business lines into areas like sustainability and even Korean entertainment content, diversifying their future revenue streams. This is a crucial part of the report. The company is explicitly stating that due to their current cash position operating plans and forecasted negative cash flows, they have substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern for the next next year. This means they are at risk of not being able to pay their debts or fund their operations without significant additional financing. This is as close to a red flag as you can get. This section details the GPCR USA acquisition. It tells us the company spent $7.88 million in total considering cash equity and contingent consideration, which is that future payment stuff we mentioned. They've recorded $3.3 million in goodwill from this acquisition. Goodwill is essentially the premium paid over the fair value of net assets acquired. It suggests they believe GPCR USA has future earning potential beyond its current tangible assets. The contingent consideration liability is a whopping $5.79 million as of the 30th of September 2025. This means they anticipate paying a significant amount in the future if certain performance targets are met. They are essentially betting on the success of GPCR's clinical trials and future products. Here we find more details on how their accounting works. The assumptions behind that contingent consideration show a lot of guesswork. They are estimating success probabilities for various milestones related to GPCR's drug development. For example, they have a 24.6% chance of hitting milestone 1 with a payment date in late 2025 and a discount rate of 9.5%. These kinds of estimates are highly speculative and drive a lot of the uncertainty in their financials. This part deals with legal matters. This refers to a securities class action lawsuit. The good news is that on the 13th of January 2025, the court approved a settlement for $5.6 million. Importantly, this settlement is covered by insurance. However, the company had to pay a portion of its self-insured retainer, and they settled that by paying $1 million in August 2025. This lawsuit stems from past allegations related to their former drug candidate Exicure FXN. There are also 3 stockholder derivative lawsuits from 2022. While these are currently stayed, it seems like they have reached an agreement in principle for a resolution, so it looks like they're trying to put their past legal issues behind them. This section is where management talks directly about their financial situation and future prospects. They reiterate that they are still exploring strategic alternatives, which could mean anything from selling the company to merging or acquiring other businesses. This is a company in transition and they are openly talking about it. Here they restate their cash position of $4.4 million and directly state that their current liquidity may not be sufficient to fund operations for the next 12 months. They clearly see substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern. They plan to raise more money through selling stock, but they acknowledge it might be difficult given the company's current state and uncertain future. This means existing shareholders could see their ownership diluted. This section really drives home the going concern issue. They have limited revenue, are burning through cash, and are heavily reliant on future financings. The company is in a precarious financial position. The significant increase in cash used for operations in 2025 is a key takeaway here. It is nearly $5.3 million more than in the same period last year, driven by the acquisition and likely increased personnel costs. They candidly admit that their existing cash is not enough to cover their immediate obligations. They need more money for ongoing operations and their exploration of strategic alternatives. This repeated mention of going concern is the most important message from the financials. It is a direct warning to investors that the company might not be able to stay in business for the next year without new funding. This is about their internal financial reporting. They've identified material weaknesses in their internal controls. This means there is a risk that important financial information could be misstated or not caught in time. Specifically, they mention issues with reviewing non-routine activities and a failure to implement controls around all accounting and its processes. They are working on a plan to fix these control weaknesses, which involves enhancing review procedures and potentially hiring more staff depending on their financing situation. Now let's talk about what this all means. Exicure Incorporated is at a crossroads. They've essentially abandoned their old business and are betting big on a new venture acquired through GPCR Therapeutics USA Incorporated. The financials clearly show they are bleeding cash with no revenue from their new operations yet. The massive contingent consideration payment they've booked is a huge gamble on the success of this new clinical trial. On one hand, they seem to be taking decisive action to change their trajectory and address past legal issues. On the other hand, the company is facing extreme financial pressure with a substantial going concern warning. Their ability to secure future funding to support this new direction is absolutely critical and highly uncertain. The material weaknesses in their internal controls also add another layer of risk. The key takeaway here is that this is a very high risk, high reward situation. Investors are essentially betting on the success of a clinical trial that is still in phase 2 and on the company's ability to secure millions more in funding. It is a company clearly in transition and the coming months will be absolutely crucial to its survival. Alright, that is our deep dive into Exicure Incorporated's latest Q3 report. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more corporate breakdowns. And don't forget to check out our Discord community linked in the description below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.